Welcome, everybody, to the Friar Talk podcast. Today, we're going to be giving a quick update on Fernando Tatis. It came out yesterday that apparently he could be back in 10 days. Now, first off, when I heard that, I don't think he's going to be back in 10 days, but I still find this to be extremely positive news because if you just kind of looked into what some doctors thought about it, what they basically said was surgery is inevitable. It's not an if, but it's a when. And the big question is he going to get surgery now? Because if he gets surgery now, it's about a 6-month recovery. And if he doesn't, then he'll probably get it in the off season. And just kind of going over that, like, what was he going to get? That was the big question. But right now, it seems like he's not going to get surgery and he's going to take an extended time off. I think it'll be more than 10 days. I think it's going to be a month or two. But we're going to see Fernando Tatis Jr. again this season. So I'm very, very happy that that's the case. But Chase, are you concerned about this? Are you still very concerned about this injury as much as we were on Tuesday?
I'm not as concerned as I was on Tuesday because, they had the MRIs. It showed no structural damage to the bone or the rotator cuff. So it's better than what we were originally thinking. I do want to see him take a month or two off because, with his style of play, he's always diving headfirst, making diving plays, always swinging for the fences really hard. So I don't want to see him come back in 10 days and do the same thing over again. I know Cody Bellinger on the Dodgers had a similar thing where his shoulder kept popping out. He did have to get surgery right after the World Series, and I think he just barely made it back for spring training. So I don't know if he can do this for 162 games if he only has 10 days off. So I really hope it's just 1 month and then it's just almost practically fully healed then.
As Padre fans, we want him to be back as soon as possible, but we got to be realistic. This is a 14-year investment that we put in Fernando. This has been a lingering issue for him for, I think ever since his rookie year, they said. And if surgery is needed, which I still think surgery will be inevitable, whether it's now or at some point later in his career, it should definitely happen just so, we know that everything's okay with him and hopefully he will be able to fully recover. I definitely don't think he'll be back in 10 days. I think earliest would be the second Dodgers series. I don't really want that to happen as much as I want him to play the Dodgers. We got to look more down the line towards later in the season when we're going to need him for the deep playoff run and for potentially winning the NL West.
Yeah, I think that they need to take extreme caution with Tatis in this situation, just because we don't want to see him come back and then re-aggravate it and then have to have season-ending surgery. That's worst case scenario. I think that's why we were so worried when it happened, because if he's not there, the chance of a World Series championship this year diminishes immensely. Like he's the equivalent of a Cody Bellinger going down, of a Mike Trout, of all of these really, really talented players, a Mookie Betts, guys like that. He's that elite level. He's the most important player on the Padres team, I think. And you can talk about other guys like Machado and stuff, but he's the guy that provides that energy, that provides that spark. We saw that in the playoffs last year when he hits the 3-run home run, and that just completely changes the momentum of the game. He's that guy. If the Padres have a chance to win the World Series, which I think they do, he's got to be healthy for the playoffs. Now, they can absolutely make the playoffs without him. I truthfully believe that. I know that a lot of people look back in 2019 and the team struggled a lot. Like they basically fell apart when he went out. But this team is really good. I mean, we've seen these pitchers. We saw last night, Caratini and Yu Darvish, these guys that we just acquired, pretty much single-handedly win the game because Darvish came out there, pitched to Jim. Caratini has this super clutch 7th inning 2-run go-ahead home run. Like there's a lot of better players on this team. We even have guys like Tommy Pham that are struggling right now that have a career of being very, very good players. A lot of emerging players such as Jake Cronenworth, Ha-seong Kim, who has actually looked really good replacing Fernando, which I think is a big positive. I think this is it's an okay thing if he misses a couple months. There's still going to be a really good ball club, but you want him there in the playoffs, and you want him to not have any future injuries because the surgery I think will happen in the offseason. Like you said, Cody Bellinger did it, and I know him was like I know he dislocated the last time from, I think it was giving someone a high five. I don't know if you guys remember that. He basically hit a bomb and then got all hyped and hit it and then high-fived someone and dislocated it. And then he played the rest of the World Series. But we don't Fernando is such a just explosive player, a guy that's playing with so much energy where this injury could just keep happening. And I think it's really smart to just wait. I'm really surprised that there's not structural damage just because it looked like he was in so much pain. So I'm really happy there's not, because that was pretty scary. I think every Padres fan just held their breath like, oh God, no, like this cannot be happening. It's the 5th game of the season. And we saw that he's been struggling fielding. I think this plays a part in that. Like it's got to play a role in his struggles. And I think that just let him rest up, let him be 100% and then some before he's back. So that's where I'm at. But what do you guys think? Like, how long do you think he's going to be out? Because I do think 2 months.
I want to say like a month and a half at least, if not longer. Like, I want to make sure he's completely 100%. That shoulder's not going to bug him when he's like trying to play his hardest, on his swings where he's swinging for the fences. I see him go down in pain again, or when he's diving for a ball or taking a sharp backhand, because we saw that in spring training. He took a backhand and he came off the field because it was hurting his shoulder. So we want to see him play like he normally does. We want that spark back on the team, but it's most important that he gets healthy for just not this year, but also the future. We don't want this to be a reoccurring problem over this 14 years.
It's kind of hard for me to try and say when I think he will be back, just because, at first we heard this maybe season ending, and then we heard 1 to 2 months, and then we heard a bunch of different things. Then it ended up, he just ended up on the 10-day IL. Hopefully, if I were to, give a timetable of how long I would want him to be out, I would say 2 months. I think that's a perfect time, to heal up. He is our best player. Our World Series chances, they ride on him, not only because of the talent he has, but because of the heart he brings to our team. We need him to be healthy for a deep playoff run. So 2 months, 1.5 months, like Chase said, is a reasonable timetable that I'm looking for. And if he's back any earlier, maybe there's a bit reason of concern from us fans, but we just got to hope that he gets healthy so we can play like the Fernando Tatis that we know.
Absolutely. And I guess the last thing I'll kind of ask you guys is how do they replace him when he's gone? So let's say it's 2 months. What do the Padres do? Because if it was, my original thought was, if this is season ending, I was like all for bringing CJ Abrams up. And I know it's really early and stuff, but if he's only going to be out for a certain amount of time, I don't think they're going to elect to do that. I also don't really think they should, if they want to, keep the service time and they don't really feel like he's quite ready to be, to take that starting shortstop role. I originally thought that Machado would move to shortstop, but now in today's lineup, and this is Wednesday that we're recording, it doesn't seem like Ha-seong Kim has been the shortstop both these days. It seems like it's going to be mostly Kim at short. But is there anything else that you guys want them to try? Because at first I thought like, all right, they're going to put Kim at second. Maybe they'll put Jake Cronenworth at third, and then they'll put Machado at shortstop, just because everyone knows how great of a fielder Machado is. But it seems like they're going to have Kim be the shortstop, Cronenworth everyday second baseman, and Machado at third. Do you guys think that's the right way to go about this?
I'd rather Machado stay at third. I know he used to be a great shortstop, but I prefer him at third base because he really holds down that corner really well and he has the arm for it. If they don't think Kim can play shortstop, I'd much rather have Cronenworth move to short and Kim move to second, because they both have similar speed. They're both quick guys. They're pretty good with the glove. And that's why I prefer Cronenworth at short and Machado at third, because Cronenworth's a little bit quicker and probably has a little bit more range. And we all know he has a great arm. I mean, the guy can throw 95 off the mound. He could be a bullpen piece if we really need him to be. I want to see Abrams get called up, but at the same time, if they don't think he's ready, then don't do it. The only reason is I think he can be an electric young piece like Tatis is and brings that kind of spark that we need again, because I really don't know who else could bring that spark that Tatis had on the team. And that might be something that might bite us in the butt for like a couple of weeks until we figure out, all right, who are the guys that can get this team amped up when we need them to. But, I think he meant short, great idea.
Yeah, and watching Jace Tingler after the game that Fernando got hurt, they were asking him about potential options, and he brought up Ha-seong Kim will be the primary option at shortstop. But I'm sure, as some rest days come for Ha-seong Kim, like I'm sure they will, maybe we will see Manny playing short, or maybe we'll see Jake switch over, or maybe even Jorge Mateo will play short, because he also did bring up Mateo as a potential option. So those are just some of the options that Jace Tingler brought up. Relating back to CJ Abrams, I was all for bringing up CJ Abrams just because, like Chase said, other than Fernando, it's kind of hard to imagine anyone else bringing that kind of spark, that kind of heart that he brings. Maybe CJ Abrams brings that, and you can make an argument for Manny, but Manny's kind of like more reserved. But other than that, I can't think of a better way for a team to rally around any other person other than like a rookie like CJ Abrams, who has so much potential that we're looking forward to. But I think primarily we are going to see ha-seong Kim there at shortstop.
Yeah, I like that you bring up Mateo as well, just because he's actually starting today in center. I think that this gives him a little bit more of an opportunity to kind of prove himself early on in this year. And he could definitely become like the backup utility guy, him and ha-seong Kim. And I guess Jake Cronenworth as well, kind of depending how second base plays out. Because it seems like Kim's kind of the guy for the infield and Mateo's kind of the like utility guy for the outfield. But I think we will see Mateo play shortstop a couple of times. I wouldn't be surprised at all. But I definitely think that it's going to be Kim moving forward. But with all that said, I think that's going to wrap it up for today's episode. We just wanted to give a quick injury update, and that's where it's at. I think overall this is very positive news. I was terrified that he was going to be out for the year. I bought a Fernando Tatis jersey probably 2 hours before that happened. So I thought I had a jersey curse or did something on my end. So I'm happy that's not the case. And I hope that I do have to say, I hope that we don't see him back in 10 days. And I mean, I want to see him back. I want to be watching him, but I also want to be watching him come October, because that's when we're going to need him the most. That's when it's going to really matter the most. This team has excellent pitching. We've seen Blake Snell come in there look really good. We've seen Darvish looked fantastic yesterday, and we've seen Joe Musgrove look great. Some of the, Morahone, Paddock, if those guys figured out, this could be a lethal starting five. So I'm really hoping that they take some time with him, but that's kind of all we got for today. We'll be back tomorrow recapping the Giants series, previewing the Rangers series, and then talking about, maybe some of these other guys are coming back up. And so we'll kind of get into some other topics as well. But I think that overall it's a very positive thing that he was only put on the 10-day DL and that it's not a season-ending injury, and we will get to see him this season. So I'm pumped overall. And even if he misses 2 months, I'll still be very happy with that. So thanks everyone for watching, and we'll talk to you guys soon.